Sure do miss seeing everybody. I feel like I start all of these Wednesday night devotionals off saying that, but I'm feeling it again today. As I see people out in public and I think of our little strange interactions as we're trying to figure out whether we're going to shake hands or give each other a hug, and then we're remembering we're not supposed to do those things. It just reminds me of the time where we didn't have to worry about that, where there wasn't that awkwardness, where we could embrace and shake hands. And now I look back on that and think of how we took it for granted and didn't think of those little gifts that we have. This is Grant, and this is your Wednesday night devotional. And what I want to talk to you about, it's a little bit different because we're going to have a devotional, but we're also in the midst of preparing to meet again. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait. I can't wait to be together. Every time I see one of you out or you pop up on social media, I'm reminded of how much I miss you. I'm reminded of how much I miss my church family. And I hope this is a reminder that this is a sign, that this is a lesson going forward, that we never take each other for granted again. Let's remember this time, right? There are several lessons that we can take from this time where we have not been together, and we can carry those forward. And one of them is let's not take each other for granted anymore. And we can start this first Sunday when we come back. We can start practicing not taking each other for granted. Because in the next few days, we're going to send out a document and we're probably going to go over this on Sunday morning during our worship service, go through it with you. But you're going to have it before then. And we're going to have to make some concessions to meet together again. And what I want to say to you is that no one ought to be able to give something up for someone else better than a Christian. No one ought to be able to not get their way better than a Christian. No one ought to be able to do things for someone else that they would not normally do than a Christian. So I know we're not going to have any problems when we send this out to you. Philippians chapter 2 verse 3 says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather in humility value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of others." So as we come back, all of us are going to have to do that to one degree or another. We are going to have to come back with the mindset that we are valuing the other above ourself. So before we send this out to you, we want you to go ahead and get that into your mind that we're going to approach this not from our own concern, not from what we're worried about for us. We're going to be thinking primarily about our brothers and sisters. And we're going to think about what's the best way that we can come back so that everyone feels protected and everyone is happy and comfortable meeting here. And you may be someone that needs a lot of things to be done for you to be comfortable. And that's okay. And you may be someone that doesn't need anything to be done to be comfortable. You may be ready to come and just meet and just get back to normal as is. And that's okay if you feel that way too. But what we have to do as we come back is think of our brother and sister above ourselves. What can we do to take care of them? What can we do to make sure they're safe? So I want you to know a few things before we come back. One is that if you're not ready to come back, if you're still scared or you're still nervous, it's okay to take your time. Take a few weeks. The great thing is this streaming that we started, it will always be available. From now on, we're excited and we're going to keep some of the other digital content going even after we get back full tilt. We're going to keep some of that going too. So if you're a little bit nervous, it is okay to stay home. We encourage you to do that. If you're in a high risk category, we want you to stay home. We want you to feel okay about staying home. If you've got small children, right? That you know it's going to be hard for them to come to church and not hug on people and not be kids. We want them to come back to church when they can be themselves. It's okay for you to stay home. So, as tough as it's been, we're not going to just rush back into this. But here, there's also some really good lessons that we've learned. So, as we come back, let's not rush through and forget some of these lessons that we've learned as we have been apart. One lesson is cherish your family. Some of us have gotten to know each other again, and it's been a really beautiful thing. And I hope we come back with stronger marriages and stronger relationships between husbands and wives and grandparents and grandchildren and children and parents. So let's not forget to cherish our families. Treasure your time alone. We're out of balance on that right now. So we're ready to be back together. But when we get back together, let's not forget that we also need time alone too. So just like we were kind of separated from everybody immediately and we missed, and it's just kind of like we went all the way to one extreme where we didn't get to see people again. When we come back together, let's protect some of this time that we've had alone to ourselves and to our families. I think a lot of us have learned that we can overload on technology. Just because we come back to church and just because things are opening back up, that does not mean that technology is going to go away. And we are still going to have to learn to make sure that we monitor and moderate our digital diet. Maybe most importantly, cherish your church family. We have learned how much we miss each other. I have learned how much I have taken people for granted, how much I have taken coming to church for granted. Believe it or not, there are Sundays when there are things I have to do that I would rather just stay in the bed. Now, I don't because it's my job to be here, and that would be a pretty big red flag if the preacher started sleeping in on Sunday morning. But I understand how you feel. But now that we've been apart so long, let's cherish our church family again. Think about who you really miss hugging. Think about who you really wish you could shake their hand or have a conversation. What I want to challenge you to do is shoot them a text right now and tell them how much you love them and appreciate them. And also reflect and remind yourself that this is not something to be taken for granted. Here's another thing I want you to think about. Who can you forgive? Let's forgive them right now. And let's all come back here with a clean slate. I think that's another thing that this time apart has taught us, that these little grudges, these little things that have separated and hurt some of our relationships are really small when we can't be together. So when we get ready to come back to church, let's come back with a clean slate. Let's bury the hatchet and let's just love each other and be happy that we can be back together again. Let's remember that the church was never shut down. We've always been open, just open in a different way. And as we move toward opening in the normal way again, let's be grateful. Let's show our attitude of gratitude by valuing each other above ourselves. Philippians 2:3. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. Have a great day. God bless.